What's up guys, welcome back to another beautiful day here in California. My name is Samir, and in today's video we're going to be covering the modifications done to my E46 M3, and I'll include a scale of 1 through 10 of how much I like the mod versus how much I recommend a certain mod on the car that I've done. With that being said, let's jump straight to the exterior of the car and cover those mods, and then we'll go into the interior and cover that as well. Alright, so here we're covering 3 mods on the car. First, let's cover the wheels. The LMRs with the silver gray just look spectacular, and in my opinion, probably one of the best wheels you can get for the car. So a rating on the wheels would be an 8 out of 10. So they are a little bit more on the pricey side, but I do believe these are some of the best wheels you can get for this specific color. Then we got the StopTech BBK in their yellow color, which really reminds me of a speed yellow in person. So those are 385s in the front, 6 piston, and we got 4 piston rears, which I would be giving a rating of, let's say, 8 out of 10. Do you really need 6 pistons in the front for the E46? No, you can honestly get away with the 355 or 365 option with 4 pistons on the front, but I really wanted it to fill out the wheel well on this car, so I went with the 385 6 piston option, and they look awesome. The stopping power is amazing, and after losing the brakes on a track day before, I've never compromising on brakes ever again. I had OEM brakes, and now I'm always upgrading the brakes on all my cars, so I either have race pads or a BBK. Another little mod that was installed are titanium lug nuts. So these lug nuts were, I think, about $500. Do you really need to spend that much for lug nuts? No. Does it look really good with the LMRs? Yes, so that's why we ended up doing that. They're super light. They're a lot lighter than wheel studs that you can get from like Apex. So there is a performance gain that you do get from having slightly lighter lug nuts. Will you ever really notice that? Probably not. But yeah, so there, I'm going to give that probably a 5 out of 10 because bang for your buck, it's not really the best mod, but in combination with the wheels and everything, it's a pretty good mod for me. Then another mod that we're going to cover right now, which I'll cover kind of more, is getting everything on the car gloss black. So I got all the trim pieces gloss black. We got the kidneys, the window trims, and the top trim all gloss black. So that for me was a must. It really changes the look of the car. It makes it look a lot cleaner and a little bit more modern. So doing the gloss black trim on the car, I'd say that's a 10 out of 10 because honestly a lot of the pieces were pretty affordable except for the top trim piece, which is a custom one, and I had that custom painted black to match all the other pieces. And let's move to the front of the car. We have my custom headlights that I did, and I'm actually really in love with them. First of all, we did the ZKW lenses, which improves the output and it's a lot more clear, so it's a lot more modern when you're driving out and about. Then we also upgraded the bulbs. So then we also upgraded the bulbs to OSRAM. What am I running right now? OSRAM. I think they're the night breaker bulbs. Honestly, those are so bright that people think that I drive with high beams on. And my headlights are perfectly level. The one thing I don't like about them is that they do glow a little bit more on the orange side, so I am switching those out, and a video is coming out pretty soon as to what we're going to be using next. But yeah, I do highly recommend, if you're just looking for performance of a headlight bulb, I really recommend the Daybreakers from OSRAM. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you're really trying to upgrade that, because it is a lot. It's probably like 3 times as bright as OEM. Then I also custom fit the DTM Angel Eyes in here and made it look pretty OEM. So that is another thing that I really love about that. And for the headlights, overall, I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. In my opinion, doing everything blacked out with the angel eyes and the upgraded ZKWs is probably a must, because you're improving performance as well as you're making the car a little bit more modern looking. Then the next mod is the OEM CSL front bumper. That was one of the most expensive single pieces that was bought for the car, and it was definitely worth it. So installing that was such an easy process. All we had to do was install it on the car, and honestly, we didn't even have to make sure that it fit. We just wanted to see what it looked like before I sent the car out to paint. So I installed it, fit perfectly, and then it was sent out to paint. So that's all the process was. It was literally swapping out to the CSL bumper supports, and that's it. So I just wanted to make sure that I had all the supports before we sent out the car for paint. So in case we didn't have something, we could easily just order it while the car was at paint. Now yeah, we got the kidney grills that are also gloss black to match, and then we also have the hood grill right here painted gloss black, as well as the little nozzles for the windshield. Another mod that might not be coming over on camera is the Euro solar coated windshield. That is probably one of the biggest things I install on all my cars as a must, and that's what gives the car windshield the purplish hue when it's in the shadow or in the shade. And you do really notice that there's a lot less UV light coming in to the cabin from that mod. So the windshield for me is a 10 out of 10. I do it on all my cars that I've owned, so I definitely recommend getting a solar coated windshield if you're able to get your hands on it. Before I forget to rate the bumper mod, for me personally, the CSL front bumper really changes the look of the car. So I give it a 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion, but do you really need to spend as much money as I spent on getting the OEM CSL front bumper? Definitely not. So you can probably get an aftermarket bumper for a fraction of what I paid for this bumper, and it will have pretty good fitment. So would I recommend doing a CSL front bumper? Yes, if you want to change up the look of the car. So overall, I'll give this mod, the OEM mod, in my opinion, a 10 out of 10, but for other consumers, probably like a 7 out of 10. If you really don't want to mess around with any fitment issues, I recommend it. But you can also go with different companies that are currently on the market for a fraction of the price. So let's take a look at carbon fiber roof. So we got a 1x1 carbon fiber weave on the roof, and I do really love not having a sunroof on my car, so going carbon fiber with a sunroof car was a no-brainer for me. We were also able to cut down on 65 pounds of weight up top. So the more weight we're able to take out from this point of the car, the better the performance is. In theory, will you ever notice it as a normal person? Probably not. But it looks awesome, I love it, and then I also did the full Alcantara headliner inside to match. I'm gonna give the carbon fiber roof a rating of 6 out of 10 because you really don't need it, but it does look nice, but it is also, on the other hand, pricey, so that's why it's getting a 6 out of 10. If you have a slick top, I'd say it's probably a 1 or 2 out of 10. So if you have a slick top, I probably wouldn't recommend doing it. If you have a sunroof, I'd recommend doing it for a little bit of performance gains, and the optics are much nicer. Now, let's take a look at the rear of the car. So we got the OEM CSL Trunk and diffuser. I definitely recommend trying to get your hands on an OEM one. Another brand that I really trust would be Carbonius for the CSL Trunk. And then also there's Vorsteiner that came out with their new package for the E46. So there's also that option. So for me, this was a 10 out of 10. And with going CSL, full CSL, for most of these CSL mods are going to be a 10 out of 10 for me. But also for other people, the CSL Trunk does make the rear end look a lot nicer. For everybody else, I'd say the CSL Trunk is an 8 out of 10 mod in my opinion. And then the diffuser is also a huge improvement over stock, so I'd say the diffuser is another 8 out of 10 for mods to do. Alright, let's talk exhaust systems for the car. I've gone through a bunch of different exhaust systems for the car, and one of the biggest questions I always get is, which exhaust system do you recommend and what am I currently running? So as of right now, we are running Section 1 CPI, Rasp Delete, Section 2 Rogue Engineering X-Pipe, and then we have a Super Sprint Race exhaust muffler, which sounds absolutely fabulous, and there's absolutely no drone inside the cabin with this exhaust setup. That's what I recommend as of right now. Each individual component I'd rate probably a 7 out of 10. Getting the E46 to sound good is pretty hard, but this is doing the best it can to make the car sound as good as possible. So it's a lot deeper in tone, and it sounds pretty nice up top as well, so we're not compromising anywhere, honestly. There might be better setups or combinations in the future that we'll be testing, so we're giving ourselves a little buffer to see what might be the best sounding exhaust. Alright, let's cover some of the obvious engine bay mods that we've done. So we got the CSL Concept engine cover from Carbonius, which I really love the way it looked. So we bought that to match the carbon fiber weave on the CSL Intake from Carbonius as well. That right there is just optics, and I'd give that 7 out of 10. It really finishes up and ties in the whole engine bay and makes it look nice, but it's not really required. It's if you got nothing else to do on the car, I recommend the engine cover and making it look nice. We upgraded the strut brace, which I really highly recommend doing because the OEM BMW one is not as good, so I definitely recommend getting an upgraded strut brace. This is the BMG one, and it's custom to order, and I got the 3-piece, so I'm able to do my coil packs and my spark plugs without having to do a realignment on the car, because full 1-piece strut braces, you have to take everything off and then you have to redo your alignment. So strut brace, I'm saying a 9 out of 10 for recommended mod. It does improve handling and stiffness of the car. Right here we have the Olin dedicated track. I highly recommend the Olins. They are the best coilovers I've driven on the E46 so far, and I have nothing to complain about. They are a lot stiffer than the road and track, but it's not a deal breaker, honestly, because the Olins are super comfortable. So they were able to hit the mark with a stiff, sporty setup with comfort as well. And I drive this car in the track setup on the valves. So I'll give the coilovers a 9 out of 10 rating. I don't know, there's probably better coilers that you can get, but they are going to be a lot more expensive than these. So that's why they're not probably the perfect and best coilovers, but for the bang for the buck, I'm giving these a 9 out of 10 rating. Alright, let's look at my favorite mod on the car, the CSL Intake. So this thing changed up the way the car sounds, and it really does bring the S54 to life. So with that being said, this is just an easy hands down 10 out of 10. One mod that I recommend to everybody to do if they have a S54. You don't even have to do any exhaust mods. If you want the S54 to sound really good and you just enjoy it in the cabin, just do the Intake and you definitely won't regret it. Alright, let's take a look at the interior. So steering wheel has been redone with Alcantara. I give that a 10 out of 10. It's a simple, easy mod to do. So I always recommend things that you touch while you drive are some of the more important mods you should do. Alright, here we got the CSL door cards from Carbonius. I'll rate these 8 out of 10. I thought I was going to be missing the armrest to lean my arm on, but I really don't miss it at all. So that's why this is coming in as 8 out of 10. And you actually do cut down on a lot of the weight. I'm going to put the weight savings right here, as I don't remember what they are, but I'll look it up from a previous video. Alright, another mod I really highly recommend getting is upgrading your stock seats to Recaros, Sparkos, or anything like that. Since in the stock seats, if you drive on any back roads, you will be slipping and sliding all over those seats. So installing these seats made a huge difference. The car feels more premium, feels more special, and also I do not slide around in the seats. I didn't really have the issue on the stock seats sliding around here. It was more on the bottom section that I would slide around a lot. So these seats have completely eliminated that, and it makes the driving experience so much better. So I'm categorizing and not going over the e-brake and the shifter boot on the SMG, since all of that will be part of my rating for the steering wheel, and I'm giving that a 10 out of 10 since, as I said, you touch a lot of these things on every single drive you do with the car, so I recommend going more premium on that stuff and also making it nice and something that you enjoy touching it every single time you drive the car. I'm going to give a review on the CSL center console and this section. So I did all of this in carbon fiber. I do recommend doing it if you really don't like an armrest. I recommend going with the CSL center console because it does switch up the look of the interior and makes it look more premium. So I highly recommend getting the CSL center console. And as I said earlier, I thought I'd be missing the armrest here, but actually I don't miss it in this car at all. So if that's something you're afraid of, I don't think it's as big of a deal in this car as it is in some other cars. So I'll give this an 8 out of 10 rating, but if you really can't go without an armrest, then I would not recommend this mod for you. Alright, and the final mod to go over and review is an upgraded stereo unit. So I forgot, I believe it's an Avon unit, but anything that will have Apple CarPlay, I highly recommend because it will modernize the interior of the car dramatically. Just having Apple CarPlay with a screen improves the interior probably by 20 years. So it takes it from feeling really old and outdated to feeling modern, since with Apple CarPlay or Android Play or whatever it's called, you constantly get the latest softwares. You just have to have your phone updated and you'll have the latest software running in your car. You get Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, any of that. You also get Spotify in your car, so you really don't even need a radio anymore. So with that being said, a 10 out of 10 must-have upgrade is the stereo unit for the E46. Alright, this is a little bonus modification done to the car. The video hasn't come out yet, but this is a G82 M4 edgeless mirror that I customized and fit onto the E46 M3. Rewired, so everything works as it should. The only thing I didn't wire in are these buttons right here for the garage opener, since those cables are up here in the headliner and I haven't done that yet. So this is a 10 out of 10 mod for me, but it is also something you can't buy anywhere since I custom made this. So this is a little mod I've done. I highly recommend it, but you can't find it anywhere else. Okay, I'll quickly go over the headliner. So my headliner is an Alcantara headliner, and all the pillars are also in Alcantara. And I will say I highly recommend redoing your pillars and headliner, since on all E46s it will eventually sag, and if you redo it, you're just eliminating that problem. Mine was all redone in Alcantara and it made a huge difference. So highly recommend it, 10 out of 10 mod, since the OEM headliners and pillars will eventually give out and look like shit. Honestly, they will be weathered and not nice to look at. So highly recommend redoing your headliner and pillars as soon as possible. That's it for today's video. I'm running pretty low on my battery, so we have to cut it a little bit shorter. And I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all the mods that were done to the car and the ratings I give each individual mod. If you guys have any more video ideas, let me know in the comments down below. I'll take a look at them and see what I can do for you guys. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.